No one likes theory. Here's why you should love it. Theory and Photovoice. This piece is part one of a 3-part series on theory and the Photovoice methodology. Part one is focused on the 3 theories that undergird Photovoice. Part 2 is focused on what my dissertation taught me about those 3 theories and how sometimes theory does not always come all the way through our research. And finally, part 3 will focus on how those 3 theories might be adjusted to make space for a methodology I am building as an unfurling of Photovoice, which I am currently calling Art Voice. So let's get on with it. Part 1. No one likes theory. At least, that's what I hear a lot of the time. Those who do not like theory do not typically understand theory. We often do not like that which we do not understand. For example, I do not like Bitcoin. And I do not understand Bitcoin. I do not really understand any cryptocurrency, actually. So I do not like cryptocurrency. But honestly, we can do better. We can understand hard things. And once we start the process of learning, we often realize the topic was not really all that hard in the first place. I can do better too. I will soon start to understand Bitcoin, though I will probably never love it. So, theory. People are also often anti-theory because they imagine it as not being real. Theory is simply an abstract, ethereal concept disconnected from the material world. Theory lives in people's heads, inside complex mathematical equations, and may not even be true or right or tested. Theory cannot be touched. It might be some person's random hunch, no matter how much of an expert that person may be. Moreover, theorists deal in conspiracy. There are conspiracy theorists. I could go on, but I will not, because here's the thing. A theory is simply an idea about how something works. The end. Here is the other thing. It is nearly impossible to detangle theory from practice, from an idea about how something works, from the thing working. All of us move through life and do things based on our working understandings about how things work. Theories. For example, many people's faith traditions or religions build the basis for their worldview or set of ideas about how the world works. And people live their lives, making intentional or not decisions in every moment in accordance with their worldview. Worldviews are made of theories. Worldviews are theories. Worldviews are theories about how the world works and people live. In other words, practice based on that theory or set of theories. There are all kinds of theories: color theory, role theory, quantum theory, conflict theory, postmodernism, relativity, Reaganomics, empiricism, neoliberalism, behaviorism. One of the first times I really connected with a theory was when I first read about flow theory. I read the book Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience with fervor. The reason was that I had finally found a theory to explain something I had intuitively known. The more I learned about flow theory, the more the notion of theory and practice as separate became suspect. I have come to know and believe that theory is in practice and practice is in theory. While I might call the practical application of theory practice, the reality to me is that theory and practice are usually braided, if not blended, together. Let us get back to theory and how it undergirds the Photovoice methodology. While you can read all about this in my 2017 book, let me break it down a bit here. Photovoice rests on a theoretical tripod. The three legs of the stool are as follows. Number 1, feminism or feminisms. Number 2, critical consciousness education. And number 3, participatory documentary photography. Now here's a quick snapshot in the form of a list of the Photovoice methodology, important to share before delving into the underlying theories. Photovoice is a form of participatory action research. Participants in Photovoice studies are involved in the study, sometimes as co-researchers. Participants are asked to take photographs, in response to prompts related to the topic of the project. Participants are then asked to narrate, voice, the contents and meanings of their photographs through focus groups, interviews, or other means, such as writing captions for their images. One of the aims of Photovoice is to reach policymakers with the project's results, and this is often accomplished through hosting an exhibition, which is broadly defined. So, theory. In their germinal works on Photovoice, published in the 1990s, Carolyn Wong and Marianne Burris articulated the theories supporting Photovoice. The participants in their study were all women with little power or influence. Within patriarchal cultures, feminism is used as a tool to work against the grain of the gender hierarchy. Feminism situates women's voices, experience, and standpoints as central rather than marginal. Granted, feminism is much more complex than this, as is gender. That is one of the reasons I used S in parentheses when noting feminism within the list of theories supporting the methodology. There are many forms of feminism. Over time, we have seen Photovoice used within a variety of participant groups. What comes through from feminism is that the voices, experiences, and standpoints of participants are centered within the project. That is the key thread. Let us move on to critical consciousness education. Critical consciousness education comes from the work of Paulo Freire, a Brazilian literacy educator who used line drawings to engage citizens in conversations about their everyday lives and culture. Conversations about these drawings facilitated literacy and critical thinking skills by engaging groups in animating questions about life conditions. While these line drawings were not participant generated, they catalyzed conversation without reliance on written language. The images were starting points for meaningful dialogue that transcended the images. Photovoice relies on photo elicitation, wherein the images participants create form the basis for conversation to unfold and bloom. And within these conversations, there is ripe potential for participants to develop and deploy critical thinking skills necessary for the development of critical consciousness. Creating conditions such that participants in a Photovoice study hone critical consciousness and learn about and practice advocacy strategies is vital to the process. That is the key thread. Finally, participatory documentary photography positions members of a group as documentarians rather than an outsider documentarian. This approach to documentation asserts that group members know best how to represent themselves. It presumes a difference between insider and outsider documentation, with insider documentation being most central to authenticity. The various works of Wendy Ewald, Jim Hubbard, and Joe Spence serve as primary examples of participatory documentary photography. Within Photovoice, all photographs are participant-generated. Photovoice does not include a Rorschach test-like procedure where seemingly random images are shown for commentary. No. The images within Photovoice are from insider documentarians, the participants. That is the key thread. Let us get back now to liking and even loving theory. Theory is most unlikable as a mystery. As mysterious, theory can be abhorred. Understanding theory makes it less of a mystery. Understanding theory is step one in liking it. And from there, you can learn to love it. As theory moves from an abstract concept to living and breathing life as it is lived, that is where the potential for love exists. When I lose myself in an activity that is perfectly suited for me, when my skill matches the skills needed to engage in that activity, I can experience flow. When my very human need to make meaning of some aspect of life is supported by an extant theory, I can rest a little easier knowing that that aspect of my life is known, normal, studied, and pre-mapped. Accessing new language to make further meaning of a thing is a burst of brilliant colors in a previously dimly lit space. Same goes with doing research. When you can literally see those bursts of brilliant colors come through, it fosters a deep appreciation for theory, a tether to meaning while afloat in data. It fosters a love. In my experience with Photovoice, I have routinely marveled at how the theoretical underpinnings of the methodology come through, however muddled sometimes. A participant asking an introspective question about identity and interpretation, a participant referring to a project as ours, a participant disappointed that certain power-wielding policymakers were not present for the exhibition, a participant moving into solidarity with another participant. These experiences have fostered in me a love of theory, and largely, I have the Photovoice process and Carolyn Wong and Marianne Burris to thank. Perhaps the same is or could be true for you. Stay tuned for part 2.